Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and today I want to talk about CQ knowledge and why it's so important. As the world currently develops into a ever-growing global marketplace, there's a high demand for humans to have a complex, dynamic, and competitive work environment and also a place to live. So, one challenge that still exists is the need for humans to have cultural intelligence, or CQ as we call it. And CQ is the ability to work effectively across various cultures. With CQ, people can have more active cross-cultural conversations and interactions. They're also able to better understand the behavior of other individuals from various cultural backgrounds. Moreover, CQ gives people the opportunity to cohabitate with others, especially in work environments with employees of high levels of CQ. That really can help play a significant role in ensuring that the gap of understanding and knowledge transfer within the company is lessened. They help educate other employees about different cultures, thus assisting in building the interpersonal relationships in the workplace that are really needed. They also tend to be more creative and driven to create with more innovations due to their ability to accept diverse resources and then integrate them into a multicultural perspective. So, intelligence is important, but not as important as cultural intelligence as far as being able to create a more productive work environment. It really is important to be able to understand other people and work together. I've seen literature that suggests that 85 to 90% of a person's career success really has to do with the relationships. And in today's multicultural environment, having CQ, this is what organizations of today can do to become more competitive in tomorrow's environment. And so that really is it's a game changer for organizations. And huge organizations like Google, for instance, recognize that CQ is one of the things that they can train their employees to have in order to be more effective. So let's talk about the basic essentials of cultural intelligence. And be thinking about it from a strategic perspective. What can you do personally to grow your CQ or cultural intelligence? And then what could you as an organizational leader or team leader do to help build each of the different components into it? So let's talk about these essentially. CQ drive. This is about developing an interest or to be motivated and confident enough to adapt to a multicultural situation. It's more about a desire to learn and understand the way that people from other cultures have. CQ knowledge. This means it's the understanding of various cultural similarities and differences between your own culture and other people's culture. It is also about the ability to understand the values, norms, and practices of various cultural groups. And then CQ strategy. And this is about the awareness and ability to plan for various multicultural conversations and interactions. And it's the way you apply your CQ knowledge in a setting that is about strategy. So preparing for situations such as when and when not to talk, when to ask questions, things like that really are culturally based. That should be in your CQ plan. And then CQ skills is also important. Developing CQ skills simply means understanding how to adapt appropriately to various verbal and nonverbal communication in cross-cultural situations. It is also about how to adapt to situations when they go against your expectations. So let's talk about some keys to breaking diversity barriers. In today's multicultural world, leaders and followers tend to work across settings of cultural diversity on a daily basis, and so individuals may need to be able to understand a multicultural environment from a CQ perspective and learn to communicate from a CQ perspective. And it may be a little difficult to prepare for every situation with communication, but CQ helps provide you with a framework that gives you a better understanding for effective communication. Once core values of culture are adequately understood, it becomes easier to identify cultural differences and makes it much more simple for people to determine the expectations of people from various backgrounds. The knowledge of CQ makes it easier for people to learn about cultures without having to memorize the do's and don'ts more effectively. So, as individuals, our cultural identities are very complex and they're truly dynamic. Various influences shape who we are, and these, if we consider the people, our friends, family, where we've traveled, how the media affects us, our education, our social environment, and so on. These types of things shape who we are each and every day. And with CQ, we can learn to be able to adapt to differing situations and being able to recognize stereotypes that are often misunderstanding, and sometimes people fall into stereotypes and sometimes they just don't. And so being able to understand how to adapt appropriately is another feature of CQ. So we really must become more flexible in each interaction that we have with others in various situations. So I'm going to share with you some ways to enhance your personal CQ knowledge. Get mentors from different cultures. Reflect on your own behavior when interacting with other people of other cultures. Take an unconscious bias test and ask others for feedback. Read about various cultures that might interest you, and this could be in books, magazines, online sites, or blogs, for instance. Study various media channels such as radio programs, television, movies, and so on. Travel to places with different cultures and visit famous places that you really want to see. I mean, it's got to be interesting for you. Learning is about reflection. Learning is about being present in the moment. And if you recognize the value of growing your cultural intelligence, it may help motivate you to be even more effective in understanding people. Visit art galleries, museums, places of cultural history. Observe facial expressions, body language, and gestures from people of other cultures. Ask questions when things aren't understood, and help you really build genuine relationships by how you interact with other people. Be inquisitive. Be respectful. Stay in the conversation with people longer. Carry out more observations of people in various situations, and do not be judgmental. When dealing with someone from another culture, pause often. Talk a little bit less. Really listen and think as you are interacting with other people. Observe your own behaviors. Think about what you're feeling and what you're thinking about. What are your emotions as you're interacting with other people. Learn how to do small talk appropriately with other people by observing other people doing small talk. Pay attention to hierarchy in various cultures. Make sure you can see who is respecting who and how they do it. Have a sound understanding of basic language. I think learning languages of others is one of the most important things to do, and there are lots of different ways to learn languages. I bought a set of CDs when I was going to go to Mexico and listened to them over and over in my car, for instance, because I wanted to have a better understanding of the Mexican culture. So learn how to modify your speech in an appropriate way, using accents and intonations in a respectful way. And those kinds of things will help you build your cultural intelligence. All right, I've given you a lot of things to think about in today's lesson. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I've given you something hopefully that you can use in your everyday life. And even more importantly, I hope that you have a great day, because only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr. Paul Gerhardt.